Y'all know what it is.
I wonder if you could point to any specific like sort of leadership practices that you did pull from working on the road, because I think there's actually a pretty cool metaphor there that hadn't occurred to me before. But it's this idea that, you know, how structured and rigid that production is, right? I mean, you've got to get in, out, everything has to be where it has to be. Like, I mean, it's a precision machine. And so, but I wonder, you know, you mentioned having just kind of learned some characteristics while you were doing that. I wondered if you had some, I don't know, some fables or something you could share from your experience in leadership on the road, and how that prepared you for your post now.
Sure, there's a couple things, and a lot of these things, it's you don't realize them until hindsight, or until you start to talk about things like this in terms of what was setting you up for this stuff. You know, like for instance, when I was just working at Maryland Sound, in between tours, I would work as a local stagehand at the local arena. You know, sure to pick up a few bucks, but really what I was trying to do is I was trying to learn from some of the other tours that were coming through. I was trying to see what it was like to be on the other side, right? Like out now, instead of me directing the stagehands, now I'm a stagehand. I'm taking direction from another person on tour. So I would try to like psychoanalyze, okay, well, how did they get me to get this task done? How did they communicate this? What worked well, what didn't work well? And then when I go back out on tour, I can, you know, maybe, you know, not be as much of an asshole, or, this guy said, okay, hey, if you're done your task, you all come over here and you stand here at this corner of the stage until I come and get you, right? And so, you know, little things like that. So and then from a monitor world, that psychology thing. So one of the things that I've learned through the years is I like to study people. Mm-hmm. And what I didn't know that was early on, but I know now, it's empathy. It's a word that I didn't know about until a few years ago, yet it was something I was learning and engaging in early on without knowing what the word was. And to me, management is all about empathy. Some people who are consider that a weakness. Maybe like some type A personalities consider empathy a weakness. I consider it the most valuable tool in terms of managing people, because if you can't relate with them and understand where they're coming from, you're never going to be able to be on the same wavelength with them. So, coming up from being a tech through the years, now into some sort of management, I know where people are coming from. So I'm relatable in that sense. So I think, it's one of those paths that you didn't necessarily see coming, but you look back now and you can kind of see the building blocks through the years of how it got there.
Yeah. And I mean, like, this plays into stereotypes a little bit, but I mean, a lot of those road crews, I mean, people come from pretty diverse set of backgrounds, and there's a lot of tough life stories and great life stories and all kinds of things in those crowds. I mean, I spend a lot of time touring and managing bands. And, you meet a lot of these guys that are running the stage and everything, and they come from all points and all backgrounds, and not all of them are pretty. So to be able to empathize with those people, not only just from the day-to-day work stuff, but also the life stuff, be able to manage people that come from different backgrounds and things like that, I think is really critical. So I think that's a great point with empathy.
Yeah. I also like how you brought up the, pulling from different people that you're working with, like trying to get their knowledge out of them so you can learn from that. I was listening to your episode with Ken Newman, and he was talking about his casino gig, having people coming through, and one particular sound guy would come through and make his sound system sound 100% better, whereas he thought he had it close, but this one guy knew about phase aligning or this or that, and he didn't know about that yet, but he was able to pull that knowledge out of that person and apply it into his repertoire or his little tools.